Okay, we are live. What's up, Future Fighters? Zach here. We got a live stream event for you guys. This live stream event is for the North America Future Card Buddyfight page. And specifically, we're going to be doing our Legend World talk. So, as many of my subscribers know, I do enjoy Legend World, and I have some fellow Legend World enthusiasts with me. I would go so far to say they're a fellow Legend World gym leader. First, we have Devin.
Yo, what's up, guys?
And we also have Jude from, I guess,
hey, everyone.
Jude's from Texas, and Devin's from Canada.
British Columbia, West Coast.
The West Coast. And I'm all the way on the East Coast, so East Coast.
We're early. It's only 5 p.m. here.
Yeah, for me, I'm an early guy. That's why I said for like at 8 p.m. It's like always late for me. But anyways, guys, we're here to talk about Legend World, and don't forget at 9 p.m. So at 1 hour after our start time, there will be a Hero World discussion. I'm not sure if that's going to be on John Minham's page or not, but check the Facebook group for the link details. So definitely look for that after you guys are done watching here. So anyway, there's 3 things we really wanted to hit on during our discussions today. First is we wanted to talk about the current builds for Legend World. Second, we wanted to hit on how well Legend World decks stack up versus the current meta. And we wanted to talk about some new support that are coming out, whether or not we actually like the fact that the archetype is not toilets instead of just toilets. But we'll get to that when we get to it. So guys, first up for our builds for Legend World, first on our agenda is Legend World Zodiac. So I'll let Devin talk about that.
Okay, Zodiac. There's a lot of different ways this can go. We've got 5 different Zodiacs, discounting if I haven't worked with that too much yet, but generally it's built around Capricornio, Dragsolar, and a Zodiac of your choice. Combos, setup, Soul Guard wall, and hope to God they can't hit you hard enough. It's important Dragon Arms in this deck are generally your Dragsolar, your Pika Pika, and Nebulosa. You want the double attack because double attack is what wins you games. With the Penetrate, you've got Pika Pika for Gauge, and Dragsolar's Hand Filter. Other cards you can run are Libra. I like to use it in matchups with other walls. It's a pay 1 gauge to bounce if I have a Zodiac. It wrecks walls as long as I can build Gauge. Your shield is usually Divine Guidance. It's a free shield that gives you a life and a gauge. You've got your Future Astrology, which is your pay 1, draw 2, essentially. And then a lot of the deck from there is tech. Whether I'd like to run Starfall Knight, is I will combo out Zodiac on my opponent's turn. And then they don't see it coming, and it's a free setup.
I guess that's pretty cheeky.
I've hit some guys very by surprise with that. Athra didn't see it at reach in some past games, and it shut them down for a turn. It allows me to get back in the game. Other than that, deck from there, it's which Dragon Arms do you want to build and how do you want to attack it.
Have you gone down the route of like doing the Chaos Blade Jokers? I don't remember if you said anything about this put out.
I have before. It's risky. On your turn, if you're running Dragsolar, it's great because it's an extra crit to your Zodiac. On defense, it's not the greatest. I actually cut it out of my most recent build because it wasn't quite doing enough for me.
In a lot of the builds that I've been looking at lately, especially over in Japan, I'm starting to see like Chaos Blade is just staple for them over there. I feel like even though Zodiac is a really strong control deck, it can also go hella aggro easily because if you're holding 2 Chaos Blades, and I'm assuming your drop zone's already set up and you call the Dragsolar and you're going for the double attack play, you have a Zodiac that can stack up to 4 crit.
It's 3 on the first attack, 4 on the second attack. Plus you've got 2 Chaos
Blades. Which is like 7 damage.
Yeah, Dragsolar is so clutch for Zodiac.
Dragsolar is what made this deck what it is now. Without Dragsolar, the deck kind of just died.
So we have a
We
question
didn't.
from the chat already. Is there a good way for Zodiac decks to gain life? I mean, besides divine guidance.
You've got Sentinels of the Stars. It's a spell that's gauge 2, then you may discard a card, and if you do, gain 2 life.
I know Joel just chimed in here. What Columbia Fact? Is that a new card?
No, he's talking about I think is that the bird?
It's the bird. It's the bird. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm partial to running the bird personally because it kind of just sits on the side. No one really goes after it, and after like 2 turns, it's probably done its job.
Okay.
It's once per turn when you discard a card, gain a life.
And the bird gains a crit itself too.
I think we also have that water card from this from the Aussie pack, right? For Zwei.
Yeah, it is. It's not a water card. It's a size 0 Widar. It's basically Donnerang, like the Boomerang Dawn, except if you control a size 3 monster, you gain one life also.
Yeah, so that could be helpful if you want to play something like that.
In my build right now, I am running it because bounce back to hand. Next turn, I just pitch it if I need to for a gravity rest.
Yeah, it's a great gravity rest target. I was running before that came out. I was running Donnerang for that reason. Is it's a free attack, then gravity rest.
It's nice for the life gain too, especially with the new Zodiac that we'll probably get to
when you're paying life.
Yeah, you turn your life to rest off, which is pretty useful. I mean, if it's already on the field and you couldn't get rid of it, it's better than
No, that's gonna be key in the matchup versus Hero World with all their ride and transform and everything.
Yeah, Guardians, nightmares.
I get to play all the Hero World matchups. My girlfriend plays Hero World, so I learn all the matchups.
Yeah, I go to Justin's store and like at least half his players all play like Hero World, so it's kind of annoying whenever I go up there. Make sure that I like have a heavy side for like items.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know if we've beaten Zodiac to death a little bit. There are a lot of, I guess to summarize real quick, there are a lot of different Zodiacs. What do you think are the best ones right now?
I'd have to say the original Star Deity combined, or Star Deity Dragon, sorry. The one that gives all stars 3k, and this gains pen.
Oh yeah, that's too good.
ES, which is the on attack stun.
Yep, that one.
And the new IF for the sole reason that it can hit weapons.
Yep. So when you're trying to think about building your own decks, Zodiacs are definitely pretty clutch. I know I like to tech at least the one of the Gauge Hater.
Yep, Gauge Hate's good. Halberd Arms is good in the Athra matchup. I'd tech one of those sideboard. Because it's on attack, pay a life, and bounce.
Okay, yeah, I like that. The original one.
Yeah, that was the first one we got.
All right. So that's the summary of our Zodiac deck. So the next deck we wanted to touch on was our Legend World Heroes. I know people in the past have called this Lay Heroes. I never really got into doing Lay Heroes. I prefer Legend World Heroes. So Jude?
So Lay Hero, it's pretty simple. The deck is Turboron in a nutshell. You're just trying to drop Oberon as soon as possible and protect the castle, literally. You do have 2 ways of going about it. You can make it more equipment change based, which I feel is kind of inconsistent right now, but with the coming support, it could be a lot better. And we do have the Red Arthur build, where you're just going into Red Arthur, have your Oberon on the side, averaging 4 attacks per turn, and your opponent can't really do anything about it because Oberon is a skill drain for monsters. You also have access to probably, I think, is the best board wipe in the game, which is Caliber and Grief, the impact board wipe. Like, I don't see what decks outside of Athora can respond to it because it's an impact. They can't spell negate it. They can only cast any like sort of monster protection. But other than that, it's just really, really good board wipes.
The fact that it's a counter impact just makes it stupid. It's literally, oh, you attack, I wipe your field. Most decks can't recover from a field type on their own turn.
And for those people who don't know exactly what it does, it's 2 gauge. If you have 4 or more heroes in your drop,
Or more
counter
different
destroy
heroes.
different heroes. Yes, thank you. Destroy all monsters and set spells on both sides of the field. Items remain. So it can also
Yeah.
combo out really well with some of your set spells. We recently got a set spell. I think it's Castle Camelot. That when it's destroyed, you can salvage a Holy Grail from your drop. So it gives you a shield. Because before the problem we used to run into, well, I personally ran into with Lahira, is that I would have a bunch of set spells on the field and I would be hesitant to cast the Caliburn because I would just lose all my setup. But now it doesn't hurt as much because we get something out of it. So it's a good card and it's only going to get better, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Because like if you play like a lot of monsters, well, like once per turn, if you play item for the Camelot base, play item or hero monster, get the mill one, then get a gauge or one of.
Yeah, it's mill one gauge.
It's really good. Like it's like sometimes if you are like 1 to 2 short for just that Oberon way, you're getting there pretty quick. And then having the gauge on the side is super helpful because it, for me that feels like it shares the fact that you're getting those Caliburns off very easily. In addition to having plays for Oberon later.
Yeah, no. What I do is before I Caliburn is when they start their attack phase, I'll Illusion of the Void Deity onto Oberon or whatever size 3 I have on board, and then when Caliburn goes off, it saves it, and they don't see it coming because it was a field wipe on their turn, and my monster's still alive.
Yeah, and I guess with some of the new item support, I guess the Merlin decks will probably see some life a little bit. I mean, obviously, Legendary Heroes are going to play Oberon just because the gauge stuff is.
There's no reason not to play Oberon in Legend Heroes. It's just too good.
Yeah, he's become the new win condition of the deck. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been that way for the past 2 years. So,
Very good. All right, so the third deck that we're going to talk about for Legend World builds is probably my favorite Legend World deck right now, and that is Asgard for the Recursive Fenrir. It's more of a Recursive Fenrir deck, which is the impact monster that you pay, I think it's 3 gauge, you bounce Asgard monster on your field, you call it. During your final phase, you can discard 2 cards to restand it, so if you happen to discard a very useful card like Chaos Blade Joker,
do note that you do have to discard a Legend World card. You cannot discard a generic World card.
Right. Okay. So I guess that would be a key point. But yeah, discard a Legend World card very, very likely since you're playing a Legend World deck. Except if you're still doing like the damage controls or some other discardy thing, you get those crits. So with Fenrir, the Fenrir Rush, the idea is of course get your Fenrir and get as many cards as you can into your hand as fast as you can, and then play Fenrir. Discard 2 jokers, perfect world, right? 2 jokers. He restands with 5 crit. So you have 4 more cards in your hand. You can discard 2 cards, swing 5 again, discard another 2 cards, swing 5.
No, and then you discard 2 Alvadals, and you get it all back and do it again.
That's super perfect hands. And then like those 2 Alvadals with 4 jokers.
yeah, the perfect hand.
But the main idea for the Legend World Asgard deck is, of course, the card draw. I mean, very clutch card that we got. I feel like it's in most Legend World decks right now. It's going to be your staff. And this is an upgraded rune staff. It's something that I feel like we needed desperately.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That hand filter is so good.
For all decks, it's just super useful. It's the quick cost, 1 gauge, 1 life. You can rest it to get a gauge, same as old rune staff. But now we have the ability to, once per turn, discard a card from your hand to draw. So you can discard your Ibodal, draw a card, then Ibodal skill, gauge and draw. Discard your Joker to get it out for free. Discard, still cheeky like me. You still like to play Astrolux first turn. Discard Astrolux. Swing 4 crit on the first turn. 10k butt. Really hard to get over. And I mean, most of the other ones are still all the classic Asgard cards that let you discard, like Valkyrie Skull that lets you filter. Of course, the Ibodals. I play Count Dons right now just because I'll discard cards and then try to get the extra attacker. And I still like Darkness Rune a lot just because it helps get the gauge if I need to play a Skull and I need to go into my impact monster.
Yeah, Darkness Rune is probably one of the best counters we have.
Yeah, like as soon as you saw it, we finally got a counter speed removal. That's why I was so excited that it wasn't some weird thing where I had to like damage control that size 0 Valkyrie It lets me pick a size 2 or less. Yeah, Asgard Rush is definitely my favorite. It's not, if you go second, I have killed people by swinging like 21 damage at them. So it's not hard. The fact that the Gamir staff and Darkness Room have life costs will allow you to go to that 6 or less so you can play.
Get your symbol guard off and get your hand draw going. It's
pretty cheap. It's pretty good. I like it a lot. I don't know if you guys had anything else you want to say about Asgard build.
For me lately, Asgard has been struggle city.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, like a lot of my locals easily play around it, so I've had to come up with some like new cheeky stuff to do just to get my hand size up. I maxed out symbol guard to 4, and that wasn't working. So what I tried out was running a small Zodiac engine, just because I feel like Zodiac actually does a better discard job than the actual discard deck. So
Yeah,
it's your standard Zodiac deck, but you do max out on the Fenrir and you do max out on the Chaos Blades, just because with Zodiac's draw spell, it's live turn 1 if you happen to open up the Zodiac. So just food for thought. Like, a lot of Legend World is very versatile and interchangeable, especially cards that allow you to discard. So
yeah, no, like one time, I think it's on my YouTube channel, Buddyfight Weekly here somewhere, but I was playing Legend Heroes, and Zodiac or Fenrir in that deck is great because half your monsters are Asgard. You run the Valkyries.
Yep.
And then you just Valkyrie into Fenrir and hit face after you've cleared their field. And Soul Guard doesn't protect them.
What's been the struggle mostly, Jude? I'm actually curious personally. What's the struggle in the Asgard deck? Because I know 5th Omnis are just annoying as crap.
Oh yeah, 5th Omni used to be my best matchup until they turned into a size 3 deck. Then Bloody King became useless to me. And as for Onis, just it's hard to play around with Luffy. Yeah.
Onis shit on Legend World in general.
Yeah. Onis are like my worst matchup. Like every Legend World deck I have loses to Onis unless I'm playing Turboron, because then they can't do their stuff against me. But other than that, it was the Oni matchup and Athora as well as New Jaeger that stopped me from playing discard, because I couldn't get past Jaeger's wall. With Athora, I couldn't get past their wall either. I actually started running a really old spell, Power Mythology, just to give my Fenrir the crit so I can push through on certain turns when they're on like a bad Jaeger Vortis, because I can still pen that. But it was...
Hey, those are super clutch, just having that penetrate.
Yeah. But other than that, like, the deck has been just very lackluster, slow, and
that's kind of why I went away.
Doesn't have enough.
Definitely, I would agree that the setup, having that setup, is important. Like, so it's really easy to fall flat. Like, if you have your hand not quite there, or if, let's say, you don't draw your impact, for example, then you're kind of floundering.
Yeah, you need to draw what you need when you need it. Otherwise, you're just dead.
Yeah.
The deck's good. It dies too easily.
That's why I kind of switched to Zodiac engine in it, because Zodiac has so much more filtering than regular just Asgard, because you have Stick and you have Drag Solar. So you'll see what you need.
Probably my biggest problem in Zodiac is I deck out half the time. That's why Black Dragons or Abigail is my worst matchup with Zodiac. Is I mill so much already. I give them half their cards active myself.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that might be where like the Chaos Blade Rush might help you out a little bit. But
because Black Drags can definitely not deal with the aggro, so.
No, they can't. It's just the mill hurts.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right, so moving on. The next deck we have on our list that we definitely need to talk about, because I always see it topping or doing at least somewhat well, is Legend World Stars. So Legend World Stars, pretty one-dimensional deck to me because, of course, you're building around the set spell, Great Fate Frozen Stars. And Great Fate Frozen Stars is if you have a star monster on your left and right, nullify the abilities of all cards in your opponent's field and all cards in the soul of your opponent on your opponent's field. Pretty good. Of course, if your opponent attacks left or right, manages to destroy them, stops the effect, manages to bounce them, stop the effect. But you have your Astraeus, which you have the original size 2 Astraeus. Monsters on your left and right cannot be destroyed, can still be bounced. You have the size 0 Astraeus that came shortly after, which is size 0 if you have a monster on the left and right, draw a card, deal damage to your opponent. Then we finally got a very good impact monster for stars, which is destroy, was it put a star from your field to your drop zone or something like that?
Send a star monster from your field to the drop zone, pay 2 each.
Yep, and call this impact monster. At the beginning of your turn, if you have a star on the left and right, gain a life, draw a card. So all of a sudden you now have that 3-card upkeep in a perfect world to be able to, it definitely helps. But of course the deck is very one-dimensional. So they're trying to get the set spell out. They're trying to get a size, the perfect Astraeus out, and then the size 0 Astraeus out, and then they're just constantly replenishing monsters. So if you can do anything to interrupt the setup, like i.e. destroy the set spell, which maybe you don't have the other set spell right away, it definitely is a pretty big drain. It usually takes me most of the cards in my hand, if I'm lucky, to get it off very quickly. And if my opponent decides to vanilla rush me, depending on what cards I manage to top deck, I might lose. Just to vanilla, like all their cards down.
Yeah, I know. If they decide to go, if they just go rush face, if you're not set up and ready to go and face down them with shields, you're screwed. You can't survive the rush.
But it is fun from the setup point of view, though. Of course, like putting all that work to try and make the deck as consistent as possible, like trying to figure out what works best. I mean, that to me.
Sophia made that deck.
Oh yes, I mean obviously you have to have that flag.
I'm still looking for one.
I
mean, $400.
Anyway, do you have anything else you want to throw in there, Jude?
For me, stars, they're okay right now. I noticed that someone recently, I can't remember who or where it happened, but within this last circuit that we had, actually pulled off topping with it. And while I don't agree with their build, I feel it is a good reference for players to look at. I'll go ahead and try and find that, probably post it up in the North American group later, bring some more attention to it.
I think it was Corey Turner, and that might have been Chicago.
Yeah. His build irked me a little because it was a bunch of 3-ofs where I feel like this is a deck where you can't afford to run 3-ofs. Everything's a combo piece on everything.
Yeah, like
so.
Yeah, I mean, I like to play the 4 Sophias. I don't know how many Astraeus I run right now, 7 or 8. Those nice 2s. I'm finding sometimes having the impact monster at a 4 kind of annoys me because I might not be able to have all the monsters to set up right away and then still protect myself in the center.
Yeah, no.
Also, if you're struggling with stars right now, and if you're one of those people who's constantly losing to like a crit rush deck or just vanilla beatdown, with my stars personally, I know my monster count is very, very low. I believe it's only at like 16 monsters. Wow. And then the rest is just draw cards and shields. Because, well, one of the shields being damage control. I don't know if we can count that as a true nullify shield, but
it turns a card.
Just draw cards and shield. Yeah. So I'm just trying to. It's not even about getting the Great Fate out. It's about getting the Astraeus, the big Astraeus and the little Astraeus out, so you can constantly get that +2 each turn after your charge and draw. Because by getting that +2, eventually you'll hit your Great Fate. Like if you draw your Sophia into it, great. If you don't draw your Sophia into it, oh well, you'll probably draw into it because you're drawing 2 extra cards each turn.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice thing about Sophia in general, though, too, is that her ability allows you to like snipe those Soul Guard monsters because you do the link attack, get rid of that Soul Guard monster because your abilities are being nullified.
Yeah, no. What I was doing was I had 1 copy Sharpness Field on that deck, just for the matchups that were heavy bounce. And then once that's up, you can't do anything with my field.
Yep,
you have to hit the spell.
with 4 Sophias, you might as well have the variety of targets. If you already have your Great Fate, then search for the damage control, then search for your Sharpness Field. And if you're playing against a deck that doesn't bounce anything, you can side it out unless that 1K happens to be pretty relevant.
I see a comment in the chat, and Starbow is good, and I would run it, but now we have Gimir Staff, and Gimir Staff is just, you need the gauge in this deck.
Yeah, it's pretty useful, and the filter, the built-in filter.
You need, the gauge and the filter overpowers the ability to attack their center.
I mean, I was doing the Makuros for a while, just because the idea, they get through the monster. If I protect it with like the Tetravibrion or something, and then they have to link attack to get over Makuro. It was kind of like a shield if you think about it.
Yeah.
They have to use 2 attacks to get over, and I can just use the 1 card instead of 2.
Yeah, I thought of that, but all my local meta was literally, it's all big size 3s, and Makuro doesn't do anything against them.
Yeah, he's just like, hey guys, if I'm at 4 or less, I can maybe do something.
Like Ozzy and with Zwei was one of my biggest problems, because I have to link attack to get over it, and they stop the 1 attack, and it's an entire turn wasted.
Yep. GG.
I actually got to the point where I decked out in that game because he just had so many shields.
I was thinking that. I do sometimes deck out if my opponent can somehow stomp, because you're drawing those 3, maybe 4 cards.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad.
So, I mean, if you're not careful, it's pretty easy to deck yourself.
Yeah, no, in Stars it is.
All right, so time to talk about some other decks. I feel like the decks that we just talked about are the better decks for Legend World. Next are the decks that are, we call them honorable mentions. So first we have the Legend World Zeri deck, which I have 0.
Berries are almost there. We are almost there.
I feel with Chaos Control Crisis, Fairies will make it up to what's relevant.
I mean, toilets.
I feel like this is kind of a bold statement, but I feel like Fairy will end up being the next Executioner, if not better. I mean, I'm a little bit biased, obviously, because love Legend World, but people forget that Fairy is just going to turn into another Turboron, but we have way more toolbox than I feel the Let Hero builds do, because we have all these old Fairy cards that when they came out at the time, they were trash, but now they're good, like something's Scream of the Banshee.
Death Summoning Tears of the Banshee. Beautiful card.
Death Summoning Tears of the Banshee. We have the Leprechauns, the Shoemaker Leprechaun, which is just a free double attacker if you just get your drop zone set up. Fairies are going to be very, very explosive once we get all that toilet support coming in.
KG is going to be deadly as well, because 10 cards and nothing. 10 fairies and drop is absolutely nothing. It's easy to do, and then it's a 3 crit to your weapon. It's beautiful.
Not only that, like we have cards that let us shuffle back fairies too, so we can't deck out. Well, we can, but the likelihood is getting slimmer.
Yeah, no, that new Benjo is going to make that deck so good. It's just, I'm going to shuffle 12 cards back.
Yeah.
And there's 4 more turns.
About all this is that Oberon is a hero/fairy attribute. So
yeah,
for people who aren't as familiar with Legend World.
Yeah, Oberon saving the day once again.
Again, Oberon.deck, now just fairy variant, no toilet variant.
And if you're more into the casual side and want to play something a little bit more fun, you can also run the chess cards with Fairy, because you are going to be milling a lot. So you're probably going to set up the chess pieces really easily. And if you're like me and you're cheeky, you can even set up a Gleipnir to grab back the chess impact to get it ready at the end of your opponent's turn. So you can just pop your set spell off, call the monster inside of it, start of your turn, just swing.
Yeah, no, Gleipnir's fun if you can set it up properly.
We didn't really get into the Zeri, did we?
No, we didn't.
Okay. I don't know if you want to talk about that at all.
This area.
Relevant.
I will say it is better in Legend World than it is in Dungeon. We have a lot more ways to protect it. But in the end, it still dies to destruction. If it dies, unless you've mass gained life, you're screwed. It takes so much setup and so much work to do that it's almost not worth it to even attempt.
That's kind of what turned me off, is that its fragility as well. Especially when there were decks like Fithomni that were still trickling on the bat that could just play a drum, take a damage, kill it.
Yeah. See, yeah, 20k defense is great. There's very little in the game that will get over it.
Yeah,
5 crits nice.
But
counter destruction is a thing. Counter destruction is a big thing, and if it dies, you're screwed.
Super screwed.
You put all that investment into it, and you're taking lifelink 10. And if you somehow manage to survive that, you've just lost your entire setup.
So we have a question from Joel here. He says, curious on our thoughts on Chaos Tartaros and Asgard, and also thoughts on using Chaos Absorber and Legend World in general.
Chaos
Tartarus is okay.
Tartarus, yeah.
I like Tartaros.
He's like Bloody King. Yeah. He's like a better Bloody King, I guess.
He can destroy any card with the discard.
But yeah, but at the same time, like I look at his stats and I'm just like, I'd rather not run either of them at this point. I mean, the counter disruption is okay, but it's just very lackluster. Very, very, very lackluster.
He's not an Asgard attribute, at least if I'm reading this right. Which I would.
No, I don't think he's Asgard. If he were Asgard, I'd be like more inclined to try him out, but I don't think he is. So
he's not.
He got kind of put on. Yeah, so he got put on the back burner for me personally.
I mean, you could still do the thing that you were talking about, where you just play the Chaos Blades, right, and try and use it. The Chaos Blades as the bounce target instead for the bounce. But I mean, 1 gauge definitely appealing. Not Asgard. 1 gauge Asgard. For the other card, I'm not sure what the Absorber. What is Chaos Absorber?
Is Absorber the draw spell?
I'm not sure. I'll look that up right now.
I'm gonna go ahead and do the same.
Looks like we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, I'm just like on Buddy spoiler, shameless plugs, right? Trying to look
Oh,
up.
Absorber, is that the staff? Why? Why run it? I mean, sure, nullify pen, but we got 2 staffs already. I think in terms of like the staff hierarchy for me right now is Grimmer. Grimmer is on this golden pedestal. I'll probably put Absorber next just because of the nullify pen, and then Rune Staff at the bottom. Who even runs it still? I guess it's okay. Like, try it out, and if we do enter a meta where everything is just like penetrate, I will probably start citing it. But right now I just don't really see a point. We already have Grimmer Staff, and Grimmer Staff is
So good.
It's gauge and filter every turn, which is
Very relevant in most decks, especially since we know we tend to require a little extra setup than most decks. Yeah, and then we had some comments about some of the illusion, the keep a size 3 on the field when it's destroyed from his area, which granted is a thing with Legend World, but still, that's one card.
Other answers to the lifelink is like Einzel's damage rebound. It reduces the damage to 0 and deals 1 to the opponent. We've got Breathing Guard to nullify a counter destruction spell.
What I'm partial to is I run both damage control, and there was one other battle deity robo spell that accompanied it. I would reduce it to 0. I can't remember.
Operation Restraint. Yeah.
But in my build for Mysteria, it was kind of a turbo build. Like I go, the game plan is go second and just drop it. Just draw everything, go through your entire deck, and just drop it and pray. And then hold the spell
I built it very similarly.
All right, so
but it didn't quite work out.
yeah. Well,
Not really.
we can move on to the next topic. Is the deck that I've never ever had it work for me is Wider Circle.
Struggle City.
Like the cards.
I had it working for a little while because no one locally was running big walls,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden the meta switched to size 3s, and it just died.
Widar has always been like a deck that you look at all the cards, you look at all the tools they have, and you see it on paper, and you're like, oh my god, this is busted. I'm gonna like destroy everyone. And then you put it into practice, and it's just like, this is a complete and utter brick. And
Yeah.
I feel like the one problem that I always come back to in Widars is when I read Succubus, if it were discard anything instead of just the Widar, I feel the deck would actually be good, but those are big what ifs.
This in like every other deck though. Like
Yeah, Succubus would become like another cornerstone Legend World staple, but unfortunately, we don't have it that easy in Widar.
No, you don't have anything. Like the spells are a lot of gauge. Like the double tech, that's probably not even worth it. Then
Wider's too expensive for what we have. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
I'll agree with the comments that Countdown it's probably like the only good Wider.
Countdown. No, it's ironic too because Countdown is horrible in Widars. Like
Yeah,
I hate running him in Widars.
He really is.
Oh,
Like,
I think
Countdown is so good in every deck, but Widars.
Yeah.
I see a question from Jude. Ruthless Pressure. I in Legend itself, I don't really see much of a use for it. Yeah, you can combo with Astralicus, but at the same time,
I don't like it.
I don't either.
I like it.
I see where it has its uses, but in Legend World, you want your size 3s. Ruthless, yeah, it's counter destroy a card.
Like what? Like destroy. We already have nice spot removal. I'm pretty sure anything we want to destroy in Legend, we can take care of for the most part. It's definitely more of a Chaos card than a Legend card, even if it is in Legend World. So
for sure.
like
I mean,
the only thing I could see this being good for is like you pitch Astrolux and counter call it out and pop something at the same time. Like, ooh, you got the spice there. But other than that,
it's only really
pretty lackluster.
And you can. The only time it's good with Astralicus is really it's a last ditch effort to save yourself, or it's a last ditch effort to hit for game when you need the extra 4 damage. But really,
yeah, it's.
I mean, it's a good way to like you're saying, like it's a good way to have that extra piece of offense. Like maybe you want to get an extra Joker out or something, swing for another 3 crit. Or, I mean, to me, I like it. Well, you can only do
the problem there is you have to discard a size 3.
Right. I mean, but I still think that could be pretty useful. The counter speed destroy a card. There's some cards out there that are pretty annoying. I mean, you could do that again, like against Stars or destroy set spell or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like you're trading 2 for 1 at that point, and that to me is that's a neg. So
it's a minus. It's a minus. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it still feels like a card that I think we'll end up seeing play. I mean, Asgard classically has been negs, where you're discarding cards maybe that you don't want to right away, but still. The usefulness of those cards probably can't be denied. The fact that you now have the option to destroy any card as opposed to a specific card, I think you'll probably at least see play in sideboards if you're playing a size 3 variant of Legend. But like you said, obviously it has the Chaos symbol on there, and it's Chaos has been nothing from size 3, but size 3s from what I see.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better in Chaos. It will see its points, but overall, I don't think it'll get too much play in Legend.
All right, so we've kind of hit on Fairy a little bit. The only other deck that I had written down here was the old school Ragnarok or Collapse of Valhalla deck, which is, I guess, kind of like a variant of Asgard, where you're trying to focus on the discard aspects to make it so your opponent has no cards and you somehow manage to retain a field of some sorts. Again,
I think
is you don't nullify the cards that aren't monsters, which is annoying to me.
Old school Ragnarok. It has to be fast. You need to run Turbo Rag, and you need to get it in the first turn, 2 at absolute most. Otherwise, you're dead. They're going to hit you before you can hit them.
I think it's too vulnerable to top decks. Like, every time someone... My friend has a similar deck for Black Dragons that focuses basically on putting you in top deck mode, making you discard your hand. And we're in a big size 3 format where you draw one monster. Oh, look, I have the gauge to pay for it because everything's so rampy and like I can just drop size 3s out the wazoo. Like, say for example, she used this against me when I'm playing Neo's Y, and I top deck in EX, and I just blow her out. Like, she has 2 cards in hand, I have none, but I have the EX. That's game. So
yeah,
like
top decking in Buddyfight itself is really good.
Yeah,
because
you hit a draw
we have the draw
spell or a size 3, and you wall everyone out pretty much.
So like the reset button can fire back on you like big time. You hit the reset button, you're like, we're both top decking now. Okay, here's my size 3. Good game.
Yeah, if they top deck better than you, you're screwed.
It's easier for other decks, I feel like, the top deck than it is for Legend World.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Anyway, so there's a question from earlier. Was it favorite SP or card that we wish was SP?
Favorite
the newest
SP
one that just came out. Oh my god, that sword is gorgeous.
Favorite SP, Ragnarok, until the new Durandal comes out. Then the Durandal blows everything away.
Oh my god, the Durandal is so beautiful.
It looks so good.
Yeah.
Hey, when they drop, guys, hit me up. Paying top dollar.
Yeah.
You already know.
I already got 5 on order.
There's another card that I wish saw was the Kiri Ragnarok phase. I wish that flag got like printed in English.
I know. Yeah, no, we missed out on so many good-looking promos.
Like, it's very,
I mean, the JP one is just as good.
It is, but like,
because most of the time, you want the English one definitely.
Yeah, 100% I want the English one. But I mean, if we had like the Sophia treatment, like a nice, like, super cool looking foiling, I would love that. I love that a lot. All right, so next, from all the decks we've talked about, what do we think is actually the best? What's your best chance? Our current
Zodiac until next month.
until fairies come out.
Yeah.
Until fairies drop, because Zodiac is arguably like the best control deck next to Oni's. So I feel like Zodiac is probably your best bet if you want to play Legend World and go somewhere. Then next month, when all the fairy support drops and all the hero support drops, the power will probably shift back to all the Oberon decks, just simply because just drop Oberon.
Oberon
and protect the castle.
Yeah. And then if they do get past it, you wipe the field with Caliburn. It's
pretty good.
Heroes and fairies are going to jump back up with the new stuff.
Which is pretty exciting, because I don't know if fairies ever was up there.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Fairies and heroes are going to jump back up as separate decks this time.
Yeah, instead of just one deck.
With fairy heroes with like fairy cards in it. All right. With that said, I guess part of the same question is how do we currently stack up versus our meta right now?
We're rogue. We're rogue as hell. Well.
Oh yeah. Legend World can go all over the place. You can build it to counter anything. You just have to be wary. If you counter one thing, you may and probably will die to something else. It's know your
for like a while though. Yeah, I feel like for a while though we were kind of like on the radar. Like I back when Dallas had its regionals and Austin managed to get second, he kind of brought us back to the spotlight for a little bit. People started fluctuating back to Zodiac, and even right now with the new If being released, people are trying to pick the deck up, see what they can do with it. So I feel like even though we're rogue, we're definitely like still on that radar. Like we should be afraid of this. Like people should watch out for the matchup. And if you're an Executioner player, then you fear it because you call Hell Cougar, and as Austin says, you say sit boy because the Hell Cougar can't do anything when you gravity rest it. So
Yeah, no, a lot of the matchups, if you can get set up and you can keep the gauge and your hand up, you can sit just fine with gravity rest for days.
Well, I mean,
If you keep your hand up, you're fine. It's when you start running out of hand, you have to worry.
hand engagement. You don't see your Iowa dolls or your Gamir staff, you're having a bad day.
Yeah.
So definitely Zodiac was, I think, a very good response to the Executioner flood that was happening. Obviously, like you mentioned, I don't know if it was on the stream or in our chats, that Bao Soleil is so bad. It's such a very bad matchup for us.
I hate that matchup.
I mean, you could just call it to the side.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
And then hope to God you can kill them. Sure.
What I did with that matchup was I had the anti-gauge Zodiac, and I called it to the side and killed their gauge.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely there are definitely some decks that works very well. Just that 2-gauge starve will set them back a turn or two, which could be just all you need for that rush.
I feel like Fenrir is probably your best answer too, because like you're a slower deck and they're more aggro than you, and on top of that they have the ball slide to kill your center, but they can't always deal with the Fenrir, is what I'm starting to find.
No, Fenrir is very hard to deal with if you're not prepared for it, and right now most people aren't prepared for it because it's 11k 3 crit after your field's been wiped.
And we're floating towards like a format where people are starting to take out their destruction effects because you can't pop bats. It's too hard to pop all the Oni stuff. You can't pop a Thora. So it's safe to play a Fenrir and just go in with it because they're probably not going to have any destruction effect to get rid of it.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing you gotta worry about is like the Snake Gaze. I guess with Fenrir,
Snake Gaze means nothing to Fenrir, yeah.
If you have those cards.
Just restand.
All right. So for now, Zodiac on the radar for you guys watching our stream right here. Be on the lookout for fairies and heroes making a big splash. And I'll hit the toilet splash, but
the royal flush is coming.
No, I got something better, but I'm not gonna spoil it here. I want people to see it in matches first.
Okay.
But I got memes to make when toilets come out.
All right, guys. So I think we're winding down. Before we start doing our send-offs, I wanted to plug an event that is going to happen August 26th or something at MVP Sports and Games. Is the North America Future Card Buddyfight SummerSlam 2K17 at MVP Sports and Games. And the date of this event is indeed August 26th, starting at 10 a.m. So will be hopefully a big event. We're going to try and get people out there. I know I'll probably end up going to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, just to try and play. So if you guys are reasonably close or like regional distance away from this event, definitely check it out. I'll make sure that the event gets posted on my YouTube, Facebook, and make sure that I'm sure Justin will post it on the Facebook group page to make that announcement for everybody watching. But anyways, guys, so we'll do our send-offs. Last words, Jude, do you have anything you want to say about Legend Wars?
It's a good world. I mean, sometimes we're down on our luck and we're not getting support, as is the problem with most rogue decks. But if you keep at it and you know your local meta well, you can definitely build something that can be very devastating. So just don't give up like I did and switch to Y. That's the easy way out. Don't do that. Keep at it.
Devin, did you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, no, as Jude was saying, it's literally know your meta, know what's out there, and build around it. And keep trying.
Yeah,
that's all you can do.
It's rewarding when you are successful with the deck. You feel really good about it.
Yeah, you take a deck that people are always shitting on all over the place, and all of a sudden you're winning tournaments with it. And a lot of people get mad at times.
Yeah. Definitely Definitely a fun deck. It's really hard to take to regionals in my opinion, just because there's so many different metas converging right at once. So you have to have a really good handle on a lot of the areas that are coming to your regional just to even plan to build your Legend World deck. But anyways, guys, that is probably it for our Legend World talk. Thanks for all the people who had provided comments. I hope we answered your question. If we didn't, feel free to post some comments on the video after this thing's refreshed, and I'll make sure we'll get answers from any three of us. I'll make sure to bring it to everyone's attention. Again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, in about 10 minutes, there will be a Hero World discussion. I think it's on John Minham's channel. I'm not 100% sure, but check the Facebook group page for the link. I know that they posted it on there already. And also stay tuned for future world discussions that will be happening on Facebook. So definitely tune into those videos. All right, guys. As always, like I do my normal send-offs, thanks for watching.